Hey, hello, hello. Hey, welcome back once again to another edition of Huntsville CNI Solutions. What's happening now? We're joined today with Mr. Cole. Hey, Mr. Cole, how are you today?
Great, thanks
All right.
for having me.
Right, great. Good for you to be here. Good to see you. So, all the viewers out there, we have a lot going on here at CNI Solutions. We are, as you know, we are a community-based organization. We had our Braid-a-thon on, I think that was the 31st, right? And had an outstanding time doing the things that we do for students and going back to school. This is where I met Bryan at.
Yeah, for sure.
Was there at the back to school, the Braid-a-thon. So we had a great time. Charles, as you know, he's not with us tonight. Like I said, we're going to have a great time talking about what it is that Bryan does, Mr. Cole. I love to call you Mr. Cole there. So, Bryan, what is it that you do?
Cool. So I am a creative. We do photography, videography, graphic design, web design, marketing, brand strategy, and things of that nature.
Wow, graphic design. So before we came on air, one of the things I was asking Bryan was, what is it that, what do graphic designers do?
Cool. So in essence, graphic designers take a lot of chaos and make it super simple from a visual aesthetic standpoint. And it does a lot of things in the aspect of psychology. So there's a lot of psychology that goes behind graphic design.
Okay. Yeah. So what is it so there are different areas within graphic design that you can specialize in, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, for sure. You can do product design, label design, just such a very broad range.
Right.
UI, UX design, you name it. If you look at something and it's aesthetically pleasing, then a graphic designer probably put their hands on it.
I tell you, that sounds like you have to have some passion for it. Where did that passion come from for graphic design?
Yeah, my mom just putting me in the right direction of doing graphic design, always being interested in physically drawing, and then being in high school and doing arts and things of that nature. And my actual teacher at the time, Miss Contella, actually pushing me towards graphic design. So at one point in life, I didn't even know it was a thing until she actually showed me the way. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you think that's where your creative side comes in at? So what did you muster that creativity?
I think it's genetics.
You think it's genetics?
Yeah, okay. For sure. I think it's genetics.
How many of us out there that can say that? But there's, I still believe that there has to be something innate, something about you that says, this is my niche. This is what I'm going to do to give back in a sense, right? Because there has to be some joy in what you're doing in order to continue it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of have to enjoy it.
Yeah. So when I first saw you at the event, I saw Bryan. He was taking photos and things like that. And so why were you even at the event?
Oh, cool. So it was in partnership with Meltdown, which is a product by a company called Hair Queen, which is owned and run by a gentleman named Asmar. I call him AJ. But nonetheless, you guys were actually collaborating in that way. And I was just showing up to actually film everything because we created a product that was being used called the Braid and Lock Gel while we were there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did the design and things of that nature for the product, and I was there capturing content because our company operates their social media as well.
I have a small bit of experience with a graphic designer that I have a relationship with, I guess in a sense, children, right? Yeah. And it never dawned on me that within the graphic design sphere that what I saw you doing was a part of it. I really thought you would be behind the computer all the time and moving your mouse and you use a Mac computer and all of this great stuff, but it's a lot of facets to that.
Yeah.
So as I talk about this, which facet do you love most? Or would you say that you have an area of it that you love most?
The creative business side behind it.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is a lot of times when I'm working with someone and things of that nature, it's on a business sense. So what happens a lot of times is business CEOs They have problems, right?
Right.
Most times those problems lead into sales problems, marketing problems, outreach problems. Like most CEOs and entrepreneurs, their problems are always the same. It's like,
Right.
we need more money or we need more people. Once
Right.
we need more people, how do we train more people? Oh, we can shoot video. That way you're not stuck doing it one. You can spread it amongst many.
Okay.
And then when it comes down to the more money aspect, it's like, okay, within that product, we can create the product. Okay, once you have the product, who's going to make the content? Cool, we'll make the content for the product.
Right.
Once the product is actually made, all right, who's going to do the marketing? Okay, let's talk about our brand strategy and how we're going to actually get into this market. So that's why I say I like the business side behind it, because we're not just like one trick pony, if you will. From that aspect, the goal is to take a person from having that problem to giving them a solution and showing them the entire scope of the process.
So there sounds like there's some consulting in there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you find what, I will tell you, I went to your page. What is your web page for those who would like to go out and view your web page?
Cool. It is www.bcoleart.com, and on Instagram it is bcoleart. That is BCOLEART.
Okay, bcoleart. Right. So when you talk about the business aspect, one of the things I listened to on one of your casts, you have a podcast as well?
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things I heard you say, it was talking about websites.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And apparently, whether it was you or someone else, someone came from outside of the state of Alabama, and they looked for a graphic designer, and they came up with that person's name. I don't remember whether that was you.
It was a lady from out of New York.
New York,
yeah, for
right?
Sure. She moved to Huntsville recently, because you know how that is. Huntsville's growing, so a lot of different people are moving from out of state, right?
Yes.
And once that actually happened, she literally went online, Google, search graphic designers nearby, or graphic designer, Huntsville area, things of that nature. That's just an SEO standpoint, right?
Right.
So if you utilize SEO on your actual website, you can rank out just by keywords, and then you can push like Google Ads and actually like rank for that actual particular word or keyword.
So SEO, search engine optimization, right? Yeah. So when it comes to business, so some of the things that we do, we've had some shows, and especially in the beginning of our cast, right? And we try to give some education to the viewers, to the public in general, about those acronyms. And while we're at it, our entrepreneurship program that we do have, that is one of the things that we cover. We don't cover in depth, but we do kind of enlighten the starters. We call the potential business owner about SEO. And when you say this person from New York, they went and they Googled graphic design, or whether they broke it down and they came up with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And so they contact you. And so one of the things I heard you say was, well, how did you find me?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
How important is it to have a active and working website?
It is very, very important.
Right.
The reason why it's super important is the way we look at business in 2022 is a lot different, right? So from our standpoint, the only reason, I wouldn't say the only reason, one of the great benefits of creating content for a website is because you actually want your website to rank out. So once you create content from your service standpoint and say, these are the services that I provide, you take it a little step further, actually.
Right.
You create content on the platforms that your actual clients are on.
Wow.
So that's really why we create content, is because we're utilizing it from leads. It's a lead flow system. So in essence, if I put content on Instagram, Facebook, social media, the actual bios and run ads to it, that ad runs through a funnel, which in essence identifies problems. So anytime you see me creating content, I'm really saying, okay, if you have this problem, you can click this link and it'll take them through a funnel on the website, which separates hot, warm, cold leads. Then we cold call them, and then we close the deal on it.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, that's
It's an easier form of marketing too. Yeah.
Once again, Your website. Someone wants to know what's your website again.
www.bcoleart.com.
So that's B as in Bryan.
Yes,
B Cole.
sir.
All right. So I made a couple of notes, viewers out there, some things that I thought that were maybe interesting, and especially kind of tying them into what we do here at CNI Solutions. And I think just listening to you, there are going to be some people as they view this that may want to contact you. By the way, do you build websites?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I was on your website. You do a little bit of everything, though.
Yeah.
Do you have any partnerships as a small business, or do you're the beginning and the end?
Well, I'm the main, and then I actually have like employees and things of that nature that they work in office, and I employ my wife's cousin, and then I employ my wife as well. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, cool. So there's a question out there. What services do you offer under graphic design?
A lot. And the thing is, it's like I would love for everyone to understand the aspect of when you have somebody that's really good at graphic design, like I'm really good at graphic design.
Right.
And then from that perspective, the reason why I say that is because I can ask the right questions. So I'm not blindly designing. The way design works is not for you to physically just say, hey, what do you want? And then blindly design. So if I ask a question of saying, okay, who's your target audience?
There you go.
It makes you think. All right, cool. Within that aspect, let's build an avatar off of them. What are their habits? Are we doing this for males, females, children, teenagers? And now we're getting the conversation started. So before we even start designing, we do an actual consultation where we're actually creating this content for your ideal clients. Because if not, your brand can actually be swayed and not even look anything like what your ideal client wants it to look like.
So do you happen to deal with instances where people find out that they really haven't identified their ideal client?
For sure.
So is that when it comes to, and I embarked upon that question, viewers, because of the fact that that's another area that we, from week 1 through week 10, that we try to get the potential business owner to focus on. Communicate with so you can narrow down, because we use the business model canvas approach, right? Identifying who your customer is. How do you know what's the best way to identify who your customer is? Let me ask that question.
I feel like that aspect is from a service standpoint.
Okay.
So for us in our business, we're actually B2B. We're just a B2B aspect. So like what I mean by that is like most people may say, hey, somebody off the street could say, hey, I need a photo shoot. And like, okay, that's cool. But we aim towards B2Bs because we know in our business aspect that B2Bs have large problems. When someone has a larger problem, there's a larger pain there. So our goal is to physically solve that larger pain.
Okay.
It gets a little deeper, but yes, on a grand scope of things.
Yeah, I can imagine that, because do you work with new startups, or do you mostly work with experience?
For sure.
If you could give us some examples of some of the customers that you've worked with.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. Funny enough, there's this company called The Main Choice. It was based out of Huntsville. It's in Walmart, Target, HEB, Sally Beauty, Walgreens, Ulta. So I have like products that I've designed that are inside of all of those stores. Canvas Beauty, Melody Hope from the own Oprah Network TV show.
Right.
Even AJ with Hair Queen and many more. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I saw that Melody Hope.
Yes,
right?
Sir. Yeah.
Viewers, I went definitely take a look at his website, because I went to that website and I really you shot those photos.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Awesome photos. Go to that website. It the least you can do is put B and Cole together and Google that, right?
Sure.
And you'll see.
For sure.
Yeah, you'll see his face will pop up, and if you didn't get the website, I think we probably already have it in the chat right now. If we have any questions out there, go ahead and put them in the chat, and our wonderful producer there, she'll get them up on the screen. We'll get them asked. Cool. But Melody Holt, let's go back to that, right?
Cool.
So what was there an idea? Was there a concept to that shoot before starting, or was it hey, let's do a shoot?
For sure. Yeah. Actually, it's funny how that worked out. We were shooting for one of the episodes of the actual TV show. And then I was doing some BTS content and things of that nature. And she was like, hey, they haven't seen a shot like this. A lot of times, and I know which photo you're talking about. A lot of times from that standpoint, like I said, somebody's creating content for social media, right? So she knew she had a product. So together we put together her actual property preservations, right? It made a...
Okay.
Yeah. But anyways,
you had several 100,000 views, I think.
For sure.
Over 500,000 plus.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So from that standpoint, depending on what the goal and agenda is, the goal for social media is a little different. You never want to be salesy. We'll create content to actually stir a conversation. Because at that point, your algorithm shoots up, and now you have more eyes on you. So now you can do soft serve selling. And as you write it down, the numbers pick up. So that's like a really good tool to use within, marketing and things for you guys.
We as CNI Solutions, we went to an event. Let me touch on this question that's on the board. What field were you in before starting your graphic design business?
This is crazy. I'm happy someone asked that. You're gonna be very surprised. I actually was a carpet cleaner.
Okay, all right, I can see that.
That's like a huge shift, though.
It is.
It's a very huge shift.
It is
a very, very huge shift. Like, and just to be all honest, like I taught myself every single thing. Yeah. So I'm self-taught. Like I went to school and things of that nature, but I definitely I had a conversation, like this is so like sidebar, but I had a conversation with one of our employees today, and she was like, you're more than a boss. I don't call you that. You're like a leader. You're like a mentor. I want you to mentor me. I was like, yeah, I can show you everything I know, but outside of the scope of that, you really just have to want it.
There you go.
Like when it comes down to business, like you just have to want it. Like I wake up at 4:00 every single morning, and I literally just fall asleep. I don't have a bedtime. I just fall asleep. So, and that may be a lot for many people, but for me, it's just it's like an ongoing thing, because for me, I have a vision that I want to achieve. So that's the end goal of it. It's just achieving that vision and hopefully making the kingdom happy, if you know what I mean.
Understood. Vision, viewers, small business owners, and those who desire to own business, just in life, period. Vision. Having that vision, and not just the laying on your back and looking at, having that vision, but put it into work, create a plan and get to work, because it's just not going to fall out of the sky, if that's what you're expecting. And I know you're out there, you're doing what it takes. And, my number 6 here says, what's the right way? What was I thinking when I put that question down? What's the right way? And I think you kind of touched on it, but if someone that you didn't know came up to you and said, well, you know what, I want to do what you did, what would you tell them? What's the right way? What do you consider the right way to get started?
Yeah, that's a really good one. And it's funny because I was asked this question earlier today. To me, I feel the right way is modeling success. That's really like when I put everything on paper, I put everything on paper. Like I have a vision board. Like everybody in the company knows my vision board. I made them create vision boards because in my mind, if you do not put it on paper, it won't come to fruition. Like you're just out there running around in the wild pretty much. So we create vision boards for everything. We know what our company vision is. We know what our company mission is. We know what our morning affirmations are. Every morning we come in, we do the exact same infrastructure for everything. Like it's a process behind everything. So for me, the main thing that I would say is like, if you really want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, you'll surround yourselves around people that are already succeeding. So if they're in your field, look at what they're doing very closely. And then it's okay to take from other actual industries. Like, I'll be honest, my process behind the scaling thing didn't come from graphic designers. It came from wholesale real estate. I watched some guys that I know and I work with, and we built some brands, and I asked them a question. I was like, hey man, like, how are you making millions? And it's not a lot of you guys. And they were like, oh, the process, man. Read this book called Traction. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I started working with more people in that industry, and everybody had the same results. It's like, hey, if you really want to grow your company, you will start actually implementing processes for everything. Without the processes, you can't really scale, because it's only one of you.
Right.
Most times there's CEOs
Right.
and entrepreneurs. We know
Right.
the entire business infrastructure.
Right.
We know how to close deals. We know how to physically do the job. But what happens when you have to hire somebody? Yeah, that's the part where it's like, okay, we have to build out the processes, the SOPs and everything. We have to look at our monthly numbers and our KPIs and say, okay, we're doing great, but we can do better.
Mhm.
What's this like? Like, it's crazy because this year we doubled our profits before the middle of the year.
Right. So, I'm as he's talking, I'm writing down a couple of notes, right? And when we talk KPIs,
Yeah.
key process indicators.
Yeah, so we use it as a key performance indicator.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So, processes, right?
For sure.
Processes. I've worked in the quality management field, right?
Mhm.
And when it comes to managing quality, everybody on the team knowing what to do, when to do it, and how to do it is very, very important. You're duplicating success in
For
a
sure,
sense,
yeah.
right? And when you're duplicating success, when you want to be successful, it's like you said, find those who are successful.
Oh, yeah.
Follow the process of those who are successful, and definitely those good things will happen from them. So, model success. Did you have anyone in particular that you modeled your success after, or you took parts and pieces from?
Yeah,
here and there?
definitely parts and pieces.
Yeah.
For my journey, it was more the aspect of my grandfather was very successful as an African American man.
Mhm.
He did very, very well. He had churches, he had tons of land. Like, he had the park that he sold his land just for the state park. He had a gas station across the street from his house. Like,
Right.
he had a lot of things in that aspect. And I remember funny story. I used to think there was a ghost in his house because he would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I would just I remember one time as a young kid asking him,
Mhm.
why are you up so early? He's like, because I'm responsible for everybody else. So I wake up in order to game plan and execute their day before they can ever think about it. So that let me know, okay, he's not doing this because he wants to just be like, I'm a boss. Like, he's a leader.
Right.
He wants to give people a better lifestyle. He wants to make sure the people that are around him are taken care of.
Right.
He's doing this for generations after.
Right.
So yeah, that as well as books. I read books. So
Right.
Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad,
Mhm.
reading that at a younger age and saying, man, I know what quadrant I want to be in. I'm not meant to be this. I'm meant to be this. So let me work towards that. And at that point, I had to actually build myself.
Right.
Change who I was as a person, because I knew if I wanted to be up here, I couldn't move on this certain frequency.
Right.
I had to change myself.
So you didn't have to. You don't have to recreate anything. It's out there for you.
For sure.
And so think about it out there. Just business owners or whoever you may be that's viewing today and viewing tomorrow and in the future. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, for sure.
That success. I think was that saying, success breeds success?
Yeah.
Something of that nature.
Success leaves clues. That one? Which one?
There's
a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of
There's a lot of them.
But it's kind of like you.
Yeah.
I know there's something that keeps you up at night, because I'm gonna come back to that and ask that question. Yeah. But you grab hold of what works.
Yeah.
And what works continues to work. And it seems like I'm speaking in circles, but it's the truth. If it works, and if you model that, you take the keys to success that have already been put in place.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Small business owners. I have a question out here. It says you have a lot of big names on your profile. Apparently, someone took a look, right? Become part of your profile jacket. Is there a way for them to attain the same goal as the big names like the Hulk or Hair Queen?
Cool. I'm reading it a little slower, so give me a time.
Yeah.
I read through it one time. Now I'm on the second time. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
And the thing that's important for me is I'm not doing this. Money's great. That's cool. That's nice. Conversations that I have with people is I am amping them up as they're amping me up.
Right.
So we get to a point where it's actually a collaborative effort. I want to see them succeed. It's not about hey, you're gonna cut me this check. I'm going to do this. We're gonna go. We're never gonna be with each other. I look for things for the long haul.
Yes.
When I work with people, it's like a marriage. I'm looking to work with you for the long term.
Right.
I want to know, okay, how is this part of the business going? How's that part of the business? How can we collaborate? How can we come together and set one another up to make a huge explosion in the market?
Right.
Yeah, for sure. That's always
Wow.
a goal.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay. So as a minority business owner, do others try to devalue your work? Wow. Is that is that a touchy one or
Not at all.
not at all?
Not at all. No. And I feel like that can only happen if I allow it to happen.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is, has there been times where someone's like, oh, that's blank, and I'm like, okay, but you have to understand, I'm not the average. I don't move like the average. I don't talk like the average. The thing about it is, for me, is like, I spend more time reading books about growth, books about how to change life, books about how to get better. Like the creative thing, that's really easy, to be honest with you.
Right.
Like, I don't want it to sound cocky or arrogant, but
Right,
what I really
right.
mean is, like, that's just listening, and whatever someone's telling you,
Right.
you put that on paper or you bring that vision to life. That's the easy part for me.
Right.
The challenging part is the aspect of being like, all right, I only have 24 hours in the day, the same 24 hours that Oprah has. What am I accomplishing within that 24 hours? What am I going to delegate off because I know that task, I've trained somebody else to do it. Now,
Right.
while they're doing that, I'm spending more time growing myself as an individual. That way I can be around high level thinkers.
Right.
High level, like, so from that standpoint, they value me because we have conversations and they're looking at me as the specialist or the specialist, that they're
Right.
like, all right, Bryan, we have this. And I'm like, oh yeah, you just do this effortlessly, because that's something that we've already trained for. Like, I work in the gym in the aspect of me reading books and bettering myself.
Right.
So like, if you're ever going through that aspect of someone devaluing you, or you feel like someone is devaluing your services, in all honesty, it's time for you to start working with other people that value your services. Just straight
Absolutely.
up.
I told one of the members in my class last night here in the center, I said, know your worth. Don't let anyone, as you say, devalue you.
For sure, yeah.
Because there's always that one that's going to seek to do that. So
I wanted to say this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any believers out there, but one thing that has always stood out to me is, like, and it changed everything for me. Because I'll be honest, at one point I was very like people pleasing. And don't get me wrong, that's a great thing. Like, I always wanted to provide like the best service, an amazing service, but sometimes you just do too much. You're just and this is like, we're just having a business conversation at this point.
Right.
You're going too much. It's like, hey, maybe if you don't work on the weekends,
right,
and you're like, all right, I'm gonna make this obsession. I'm gonna drive to California to go help this person. And it's like, well, you told your wife you don't work on the weekends. What happened? That's a problem. Would you agree?
I agree.
That's a problem. So in that aspect, I looked at it from the standpoint of saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to look at it from the standpoint of, hey, guess what? Who gave you this gift? Who woke you up this morning? If it's for you, it's just for you.
Right.
There's nothing anybody can do to take that away from you.
That is a level of positive thinking that some can't muster that. So with that, I'm gonna go back to what I was going to ask you earlier. What is it that keeps you up at night? Because there are those who stay up at night just trying to figure out what happened to their confidence when it comes to business. Not only where do I go from here, they sometimes they get away from their processes. They get away from those little things that they're not giving it an opportunity to work. So in this case, let me go back. What keeps you up at night?
A few things.
All the things that you can talk about.
No, in a good way. It's definitely a good way. A few things. The aspect of my visions.
Okay.
Like, I always tell my wife, is like, and I don't want this to sound cocky or arrogant.
Okay.
But I don't want this to be taken out of perspective. I can never, good Lord allows.
Mhm.
Don't put me in the best situations possible. But I've never seen the vision of me without. Never
Okay.
seen it. And I'm a vision, like I feel like he's giving me that gift of vision.
Okay.
So if I can see something, I'm like, oh yeah, say less.
Right.
Let's get ready, right?
Right.
Because at that point I'm amped up because he's giving me the vision. So at that point, time will come. So while the time that you're waiting for that, what are you doing to make sure and guarantee that you hold up on your end of the bargain?
Right.
Because in my mind, he's already shown me the vision.
Right.
So at that point, if I see a house where it's like long trees of a driveway and it opens up to a huge house, and I'm paying off my mom and hiring my wife and making sure I throw my mom's keys to Lexus's, I know that's not going to happen with me sitting on the couch.
Yes.
It won't. If that was the case, it would happen for everybody.
Yes.
So at that point, I know that I have work to do. And that's literally it. I just have work to do. And I'm one of those people, I can't sit still.
Right.
I have to be doing something.
Well, that's definitely a positive.
I don't
aspect.
mind as a bad thing.
Ooh, someone singing. So you know what? I've heard you, and I'm. This is me. I guess a level of reassurance, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You said cocky probably 3 times. I don't know why it sticks out, right, to me. But I think viewers, business owners, it's not. I think if you have a vision, it's not cocky.
It can be portrayed as that.
It can
Some
be.
people
but,
portray confident as cocky.
Yes, absolutely. Confidence was the next thing I had, right?
For sure.
Cocky versus vision versus confidence. I think you can. Do you think you can lay them all out, and there's a difference between them? Is there a difference between cockiness versus confidence?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Huge difference.
So what would be your, and I'm doing this already.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Of course, I appreciate that.
What's your definition of cocky?
To many it's different, but to me, cocky is someone that brags and boasts. They're too prideful. I am never too prideful to be like, wow, I was wrong. Or even my team members, and you notice I call them team members, not employees, they're team members. Yes. So I even tell them like, hey, if I'm doing something, please let me know. I tell my wife, I'm like, hey, I may cut the check, but like call me out on everything. That way I can be like, wow, you know what? I need to work on that. Right. You're absolutely right. Because for me, it's a village aspect. It's a village. So within that confidence, they give me the confidence to be like, all right, my checks and balances are good. Let me work on this. Okay, cool. I'm having those talks with other people and helping them, and they're helping me. And then I'm having that conversation with the kingdom and the God, Yes, sir.
So
from that standpoint, like I feel like I can't lose.
Right.
Because I'm doing this for something that's bigger than me. And at that point, whatever happens in life, I'm happy with that, because in the end of the day, I know I tried my best.
Here, and this is from my aspect, I can't separate spirit and higher power in my God anyways. And I know from a business aspect, with CNI Solutions, when it comes to CNI Solutions, we, being a community-based organization, there's not ones and zeros and X's and O's. They're people with lives.
Yeah, for sure.
They're spirit beings.
Yeah. So
when we communicate with them, there's a certain approach, there's a certain requirement. You have to have some understanding, and you cannot understand without being connected and connecting with self and I believe that which is within the true life force, the spirit, right? Yeah, sure. So I'm gonna move on from that. So your vision has brought you to this, right? And so with your vision board and all of your team members vision boards that they have created, is the outcome the same?
Yes, actually. See, the thing to me, and I appreciate you for asking that. The vision for me is to help.
Okay.
Straight up. Like it doesn't, you'd be surprised. There's not a bunch of Lamborghinis and this and that. And if that's someone's vision board, that's perfectly fine. My end of my vision board is to do this for the next 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
like, just to do it for the next 20, 30 years. Now, when I asked them about their vision boards, yes, it's things that are like, hey, I want to get this car. I'm like, be very specific about it. Like, do you want this car? What color is it? I want the red one. All right, cool. You want the red one. All right, you want better credit? All right, cool. We're going to help with that. All right, cool. You want a bigger house? Okay, cool. We're going to help with that. Not only that, we're going to help in the aspect of saying, all right, cool. You want to go this route, but our morning meetings aren't normal morning meetings. I'm not saying, all right, guys, do this, do that, do this. I'm like, all right, this is a book that I read and it showed me how to switch the quadrants. All right, cool. You over here, you want to actually buy a house. Have you ever thought about buying like a multifamily unit? You can live, if you buy a fourplex, and I have a friend that literally just closed a fourplex. Shout out to Ezo. So he just closed a fourplex. So from that standpoint, it's like, all right, cool. Do you want to go the Airbnb route? I can push you on to these people. All right, cool. You can live in one of these for like 6 months and then rent the other 3 out. And at that point, you create a cash flow. So them saying, I want freedom and this and that. I'm like, actually, what you want to do is create cash flow. So having for me is deeper than just get to work, do some work. Like at the people that I bring in my life, I wanted to make sure that when they enter, they actually leave better. Right. And they leave better. So if you ever just go out there and do your own thing and say, hey, I gave you everything that I had. Like I opened the book for whatever information that it was that I know, because I'm not selfish in that way. I just want to make sure that you succeed.
I tell you what, that just listening to you, that's giving back. Yeah. And you can be a for-profit or a non-profit, but the aspect of the business owner and those who are part of that business and who you are, you exemplify that giving spirit, right? For sure. And I think 100-fold it'll be returned, right? And with that legacy, so what's better than one billionaire? Two. Yeah, so that's just the way it works. So I know my president out there, Charles, was there any other question that may be out there? By the way, phone number. If someone wants to contact you, matter of fact, I know it's on the website. If you don't mind, you have a business line.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Can we do email?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, my emails get checked by other people, so that works. All right, cool. So that's actually, you know what? I'll get my phone number out as well. It's 256-604-7992.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Then my email is bcolar@gmail.com.
As we're getting ready to eat here, right? I wrote a note in this top corner, right? It says something about employee empowerment.
Yeah, for sure.
Where did that come from? Where do you feel? You feel that's necessary in business?
Yeah, for sure. I got to keep them motivated.
Yeah.
Because the thing is like, in my opinion, the way I look at it, I'm like, oh, you guys came back. That's awesome. Like, they actually don't miss a day of work.
Wow.
And if they do say, hey, I want this day off, they ask weeks in ahead. So that's respect. Right. Yeah. There's a certain respect level there. So from that standpoint, me looking at it, like I said, I don't feel comfortable calling people employees. Like, it just feels weird to me. I'm like, all right, cool, we're a team. You look at me as the leader, and my goal is to lead you guys in the right direction. I don't want to lead you in a path of bad or destruction or anything. So I have to be on my P's and Q's. So in that aspect, it's like, as I'm leading, I'm just pointing the vision of being like, all right, cool, we're executing. I'm thinking about the goals a month ahead. Right. So like, I'm not thinking about yesterday. I'm not thinking about tomorrow. I already have tomorrow written out. I'm thinking about literally next month. Right. My mind is already in next month. Like me and AJ with Meltdown, and we are going to go to the Bryan brothers and give out $25,000 worth of value. Oh, wow. So we're thinking about that. We're thinking about executing and building out the infrastructure for that. Right.
Okay, so what do we have here? We got a question up there. I can see.
So many half starters have a great service.
A great service or product, but lack the ability to market them, right? So let me see here. What's that? You offer a plan for those who are not monetary stable to get started? So I'm assuming would that be you? Or do you have any suggestions for anyone? Let me put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. Let me read that a little slower. Like at the top, so many starters have a great service or product, but lack the ability to market their service or product. Do you offer a plan for those who are not monetary stable to get started? Cool. Great question. At this time, I feel like the best thing to do within that aspect is to physically get started. And I say that from the standpoint of like, trust me, I understand how business like works. the business owner and the CEO does everything until they can say, oh, I can afford to bring another person in and bring another person in and bring another person in and then more. So I would say the thing that could help out with that is find out what works for you in your business, because everybody's business is physically different. So if you're looking at the standpoint of like, all right, cool, how do I get to that point? And let me know if I'm answering this question correct, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I would ask the question, let's say if I ran a carpet cleaning business, right?
Okay.
I would say, okay, where are my customers hanging out at? Then I would say, okay, am I B2B or B2C? Like, am I just doing people that own houses or am I doing commercial? Okay, let's separate the two. All right, now that I know that I have a larger pool of people that own houses and Huntsville's growing up from the housing market standpoint, that gives me a golden opportunity. So now I have to do two things in my mind. I say, okay, I have to go to the people that own building companies that are building these homes, and I need to get in contact with them before other companies do. So now I'm going to give them an unforgettable offer. Most people are charging $100 a room. Cool. Guess what? I'll do 50. If I can do 50 or 100 of those, cool. I have contract. I have retainers. I have money coming in at that point every single month. Now I can scale out faster. And if you're looking at you can't get in contact with those people, I would make marketing assets that are like door hangers. Yeah, I do my marketing online because I know that's an important factor of it. But depending on your type of business structure, you might want to go with like a more conventional marketing process because it's just easier at that point. Now, you may have to think about the standpoint of 7 touch points. Like that's what they say. You have to have 7 touch points before somebody will say, man, you know what? I need to use this service. But if they have a problem that's big enough, like the dog just urinated on the carpet and you just actually put your door hanger up there and you do the entire block, go for it. Oh, note to self. If you're doing this aspect and you're thinking about marketing in that standpoint, don't put stuff inside of people's mailboxes. So just FYI, you got to put that out there. You have to put that out there.
Yeah, because more than likely it's going to end up in my garbage. So yeah. So when I thought about that particular point that question they were asking, there are often small businesses that. And I think it's a twofold, right? Even to begin to get started, right? They are often, especially sometimes people of color, African American business owners, right? Or people of color, they have a problem getting the financing that's necessary, right? I often find within C&I Solutions and in our course is that if you do not understand what it takes to get started from a monetary standpoint and to be able to forecast that for that period of time necessary, right? You have to put the process to work, right? I know what it takes to start it up. I wrote it all down. This is what it's going to cost me to start up. All right. Get out there, and there are some entities out there that will loan, right? But there are things that matter. We talk about your credit. You got to have a good credit because you don't have the business credit yet, and you're building those areas. So there's so many different facets. But if you want to know more about that, contact C&I Solutions, right? And those are some of the things that we discuss, right? For sure, yeah. So, but I tell you what, I could sit. I'm learning. I'm listening, and I'm putting some things together, and I'm taking the aspect of what it takes. And there are a lot of small business owners. You need to have what it takes. 4 o'clock. Ooh, that's kind of early for me. But you don't see that as a job. When you don't see what you do as a job and you enjoy what you do and you understand what keeps you up at night, you just don't let it keep you up at night. You create a plan to alleviate that thing from keeping you up at night. Right. And you put that plan into action. So put all those pieces together. And ladies and gentlemen, they're pieces to the puzzle. And there are organizations and people out there that are willing to give you the information in order for you to act. Because unless you're willing and ready to pay someone, because that's why people are in business. If everything was easy and everything was free, then why even? Right? Yeah. You wouldn't. Why even bother reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Oh yeah, just this month. Like I've spent thousands on just courses, like friends that own like really large e-commerce businesses for like t-shirts with support Black colleges. I buy his course. Other people in my industry, I'll literally just buy their courses and be like, all right, cool, I'll take a Sunday and I'll fly through this entire course. Because at this point, like I'm information hungry. Like that's a very important part of it. Is like you're only going to know what you're going to know. And if you're expecting different results knowing the same thing,
right,
that's the point of insanity. Like
insanity. That's right. So, but we could go on and on and on. I know, we are crunched for time right now. I would love to invite you back, and we'll take another topic and we maybe break it apart a bit, because there's there are some people out there just looking for it. And I once again, I told one of my starters in class last night, let's not just take information and pack it on top of information.
Yeah.
You have a wealth. A lot of people have a wealth of information, but they're hungry for information that they're not ready to act.
Yeah.
Be ready to act and react. And go.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
They become like our Dr. Iris Fry. She's our innovator, right? She oftentimes calls herself a career student, right? And she's bachelor's and master's and all these different degrees she has, right? And she's got her doctorates and things of that nature. But she just loves that aspect. But she is a person of action. Yeah. And I ask those that are out there to view and be about action, right? So we are in class right now. We are with our entrepreneurship class. I want to thank you, Bryan, Mr. Cole, for coming and sharing with us here at CNI Solutions and the viewers. I always say not just today but tomorrow, because I see things happening, right? And that's part of the plan. It's for those who need it to get it and to pass it on, right? So viewers, pass it on. There's someone out there looking for this, that one little nugget, and you put out a lot of them. Okay,
that's the goal.
So we really appreciate it. So remember, viewers out there, your yesterday is not your today, and your today is not your tomorrow. Have a fabulous night.